So I was actually doing an intro for a different video, playing around with one of these. Remember when these were in last year? Fidget spinner? It gave me an idea for a different video, which I'm actually going to do now instead. So today I'm going to talk about video and shutter speeds and motion blur and that stuff. So let's do it. So when you're shooting video, not so much video like talking head like this, where it doesn't really matter, there's not a lot of movement, but for things where there's a fast moving subject, maybe someone running, maybe a car driving down the road, choosing a different shutter speed will actually affect how that looks. It will give it a different kind of blur, it'll look more cinematic, more natural. So it is important to pick the right shutter speed depending on what you're filming. The rule that applies to this, the rule that people use, is called the 180-degree rule. Basically, the short version of the 180-degree rule is whatever frame rate you're shooting on, you should double it and make sure that the shutter speed is as close to double that frame rate as possible. So for example, 24 frames a second equates to 48. Closest shutter speed to that would be a 50th. Or if you're shooting at 60 frames a second, you will get that B-roll. Then you want to go for 120th. So shutter speed of 1/120th. The purpose of this video is to show you how using a different shutter speed will actually affect the motion blur and the smoothness, and I'm going to be using the fidget spinner here. Really good example to show you because it's fast and moving. Okay, so for the purpose of this, I have the frame rate set to 24 frames a second, aperture is set at 1.4 because I like it buttery smooth in the background, and the ISO is automatic, so my ISO should counteract for when I change the shutter speed, hopefully not impacting the image quality too much. So the way I'm filming this, I can't actually see what the frame rate is that I'm going to be changing to because I'm using Sony and it doesn't have a flip out screen, which is annoying. So I'm filming from the back with an iPhone to show you the screen afterwards, and then I'll overlay the shutter speed over the top. I'm just going to talk about how the motion blur here changes as we change the shutter speed. Also, this is a pretty good fidget spinner, so it should stay consistently the same speed for at least a minute, which is probably as long as I'm going to film changing the shutter speeds for, just so you can see 2 or 3 seconds on each different shutter speed. Alright, so I know we're starting at 1/50th. This is where you typically want to film. It's going to look most smooth, most cinematic at this shutter speed. Just find that focus first, there we go. You can see it's already starting to lose some of that blur. The more I go up for the shutter speed, blur is getting less and less. You're starting to actually be able to see the fidget spinner. Now bear in mind, if you look at the iPhone, it's still spinning at the same speed. It hasn't actually changed. It's just the frame rate is obviously staying the same, but the shutter speed is changing, so it's starting to look a lot less blurry. You can pretty much outline the entire fidget spinner now. See how there's next to no motion blur now? It literally just looks like the fidget spinner is spinning slowly, when in fact it's still spinning at full speed. It looks like it's barely even moving. See? Now it actually looks like it's going backwards. Now if I quickly go back to 1/50th of a second, there's the motion blur. You see the speed it's still going at. So there we go, that was a real quick, short video on why it is important to use correct shutter speeds when shooting at 24 frames a second or 60 frames a second if you want to get nice motion blur. If you like this video today, hit that like down below, subscribe to my channel if you're not already a part of it. I actually think you need to hit that little bell now if you want to actually get the videos sent directly to you. Subscribe apparently no longer works the way it used to. So yeah, if you want to see them straight away, hit that bell. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video. See ya.